Hey, welcome to ShortCasts with Ryan, and I'm your host. It's the end of COVID. It's been almost a year since you've taken your girlfriend or boyfriend out on a date, and you wanted to do something special tonight. You think back to pre-COVID times and all the places you would take your significant other out on a date, like mini golf or bowling. Timeless classics that have been the date spots for couples for over 50 years now. But which one do you want to go to tonight? Do you want to go to the mini golf course, hit some putt, play some fun holes, experience the outdoors and have a good time? Or do you want to really go back and go to the bowling alley, have a few drinks, have some snacks, throw some balls at some pins, a timeless classic? But now, thanks to this new innovation and business, you no longer have to choose. I call it putt bowling. This is the oh-so-fun business idea that combines classic putt with bowling to make a brand new game and date night experience that old people, young people, and new generations alike will be able to enjoy. Picture this. You get in your car with your date and you drive across town and you pull up to a really large building. From the outside, it might look like a bowling alley, but it's a little bit different with new neon lights and a large sign that says the Putt Bowling Alley. You can also see outside of the building all of the giant decorations that would normally be on a mini golf course. You can see dinosaurs and windmills and the rolling hills and facades and heights that would normally accompany an outdoor mini golf course. You get out of your car and you walk into the building and it opens up to a large facility. You pay at the window and then they ask you, would you like to do normal bowling or would you like to try the putt bowling course, either inside or outside? You can see past the payment window that there's a full bar and mini restaurant that you'd typically see in a bowling alley. And there's a handful of bowling lanes that look more or less traditional, some with neon lighting, some with crazy barriers or ramps in it. But you continue on and pay for the putt bowling course. After you pay, you're directed to the area where you collect your bowling ball, and they recommend picking a ball that's a little bit lighter than you normally would use. You decide that you're going to play on the outdoor bowling course. So go to the other end of the building in which you pass bowling alleys that are normal, the bowling alleys that are crazy with some ramps, and then in one giant section, you can see the indoor putt bowling alley. It's a play on the typical bowling alleys and then putt courses combined. All of these holes are going every which way, and they use the standard wooded flooring of the bowling alley. Only this time there's courses where you bowl against a slope that looks like a wave. There's holes where you're bowling between the feet of dinosaurs. You're bowling off of ramps and down into holes and through funnels. And all of these people are bowling as if they would play mini golf. Then you continue outside and you start bowling yourself on the outdoor course. Only this time, you're bowling on similar surface to mini golf turf. On the inside, it was bowling on the wooden alley, so it was fast and quick, and at the end of each hole, you were knocking down pins. Outside, however, the courses are large and wide, and you're bowling on this turf where the ball is rolling softer. And instead of knocking down pins at the end, you're shooting for a large hole the size of a bucket. You start on the first hole. And it's a classic windmill mini golf hole where there's a windmill in the middle of the hole and you have to bowl through it, through the blades. You pick up your ball and you go to the area where you're supposed to start bowling. You wait for the windmill blades to pass and you roll the ball straight through it and you just miss the hole. Your partner tries the same, and as they throw the ball, the windmill comes down and your ball smacks the windmill blades and the bowling ball stops. But luckily you can go and walk up, stand where your ball was, and roll the ball through the blades. You walk towards the other side of the windmill, pick up your ball, and you gently roll it towards the bucket-size hole where the ball clinks down in, and you got a hole in 2. You continue on into the putt-putt bowling course and see all types of crazy holes. Ones with dinosaurs standing on them, one with pirates and pirate ships and volcanoes. There's big sloping hills, and there's lots of interesting holes. Ones where you go into the top hole and it shoots the bowling ball down to a lower section. There's ponds and things to avoid. And of course, as you might imagine, there's very large walls and barriers on the sides of each hole to make sure the bowling balls are actually staying on the greens. What a fun experience that no one's ever done before. A combination of putt-putt and the crazy imagination of putt-putt courses with the timeless classic of bowling that's accessible to everyone. A truly fun and unique experience that you get to do with your date. Have a drink in hand from the bar, and whenever you're done with your putt-putt bowling course, you can go back in, grab some food, and then continue on in the regular bowling alleys if you wish. That is the idea of putt-putt bowling. The idea that combines the two timeless classics of putt-putt or mini golf and bowling, puts them together and creates something new. Another fun date night or party experience that no one has ever experienced before. Now, this is something that I know I would enjoy, so maybe other people would enjoy it too. Obviously, it will have to be a lot bigger than a bowling alley or a putt-putt course, but to do something new, just like putt-putt bowling, it might just be worth it. Now, how did I come up with this idea? Funny enough, I was actually inspired by Wii Sports, specifically the bowling part of Wii Sports. If you've ever played Wii Sports bowling, there's a few game modes where you can play these crazy different holes, essentially, or alleys. Ones where barriers come up and you have to bowl around them. I think there's some with ramps, and there's also a super bowling section where you have 99 or 100 pins that you have to knock down. And I was like, man, that would be fun to do in real life. So I stewed on that for several years, and then one night, I think me and Emily were out playing a game of mini golf, and that's when it hit me. I was like, oh my gosh, we were between the decision of, did we want to bowl that night, or did we want to play putt-putt or mini golf? And while we were playing mini golf, it hit me. ¿Por qué no los dos? Which means, why not both? Why not make a bowling experience that combines the fun of throwing the heavy balls down an alley at pins with the unique creative experience of mini golf? And so that's it. It was just simply thinking of these two things and imagining, why haven't we put them together? Two timeless date night classics that's fun for people of all ages. Why can't we reimagine them and simply just combine them to make something that's totally new? Now, I'll be pretty short with the business viability of this because it's something that we can all probably imagine. This is what you would consider, at least at first, a small business. So Luckily, there's lots of mini golf courses and there's lots of bowling alleys. So the idea of those two concepts working is something that is reasonable to imagine. Obviously, it depends on the area, and if there's lots of people in the area who are willing to do these types of fun things, and this is no exception. Luckily, I think the novelty of putt-putt bowling would attract plenty of people, and if the price is right at the door and you have enough bar or drinks and food to serve and purchase and perhaps a little gift shop, there should be enough money coming in to sustain it. The only problem is that building something like this would require a lot of money and investment up front. And so that's going to be a big hurdle for anyone who would be trying to do this idea. But I do think that if there's someone out there that has the land and has the ability to raise the money to put this into action, that it could be something similar to Topgolf. Maybe not quite as big, maybe not quite as successful, but I think right now during this crazy time, we're all having a need and want to do things that are fun, that bring people together, that are creative, that are novel, and that will create memories that will last. And I think putt-putt bowling could just be one of those things. Thank you for tuning in again to ShortCasts with Ryan and listening to episode 30 about putt-putt bowling. We're 30 episodes in, and I'm having a blast recording these and making this podcast, and I hope you are enjoying listening to them as well. Feel free to check out any of the other podcasts. There's a ton now, from stories to lessons to many business ideas. And even if you just listen to one more, it would mean a lot to me. Also, you can follow me along on my website. It's realwithryan.com. Or check out my other media. I have a YouTube channel that's going strong now, Real with Ryan YouTube channel, where you can see my progress of training for a triathlon and some of my other goofy endeavors going out through my life. I'm very active on Instagram at I'm.the.Ryan, as well as TikTok at I'm.the.Ryan, so feel free to follow along there. And if you have any comments, suggestions like this idea or don't, you can go to my website where there's a comment section for each of these podcasts, and would love to hear any of your feedback. But as always, thank you for listening, and thank you for keeping it real with Ryan.